Hey, Chris.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, I have Chris with me today. Chris is one of our in-house HubSpot experts, and he helps a lot of clients get onboarded onto HubSpot, but also make the most out of their HubSpot portal and their HubSpot efforts, basically. So yeah, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Chris Gremmett. I've been in this space on and off for, at this point, I think like 3 or 4 years, somewhere in that range. But I have an interesting background because I've been in a lot of different types of work and settings, from nonprofit to like government kind of social work things, to then also worked with all different types of businesses and industries. So it's an interesting situation to come into the HubSpot world with a little bit of different knowledge, because I feel like I can often speak and relate to when you've been in as many settings as I have been, seeing a lot of different use cases where people have similar but also different unique issues to their specific industry.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk about, I guess this is my favorite title of any video I've ever done ever,
Yeah.
about clean your portal, because people have super messy HubSpot portals.
Yeah.
So I'd love to kind of chat through why it's important, what common like issues or things you see in it, and then how to fix them.
Sure.
So,
well, let me first acknowledge it with this then, Amanda.
Yes.
It's funny, and I'm glad you came up with a good name with it, because the concept of cleaning up a portal is not the most sexy topic by any means. And it's funny that, I'm pretty ADHD. So the thought that I would be the one talking about this is humorous for probably many people that know me, but it's also helpful that I share that, because I am so often, when I've been, whether it's HubSpot conferences or really any type of marketing thing for that matter, and there are moments where they talk about the importance of data integrity and all that type of stuff. Like, I'm always there, and I know it's important, but the people that are usually doing it, you can just tell that they are organized in every area of their life. And so for me, it was always something where, like, I could strive to it, but I also knew I was never going to be that. So the reason why I'm sharing that is for anyone else who would normally watch something like this and say, this is just not realistic for me. You're not alone. I mean, I'm organized in one specific area of my life, and then everywhere else, it's pretty messy.
So are you trying to say, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it?
Exactly. Because I mean, that's the thing. It's like, for me, I'm not the type of person that just likes things nice and orderly just because I think it looks, I mean, sure, I think Maria Kondo is an awesome person, but I could never do anything like that. For me, it's all about the functionality aspect of saying, maybe it's a little bit of laziness, in the sense of, when you can make your job easier, why wouldn't you do it? And so that's where really this comes, full focus for me is about make your life so much easier by not having to create mess that it's completely related to something that you're doing, opposed to something that the client might be doing, or the customer for that matter.
Well, one of the things, like, I think when it comes to the importance of it, like, you're talking about it makes your life easier, and like, why not do it? But a lot of companies that we work with their marketing team or their marketers. If you don't have clean data, you can't prove that what you're doing is working.
Yeah.
And that can actually hurt, like, job. I know this sounds scary, but that can hurt job security. If you have a lot of a messy portal that doesn't clearly tell what you're working on, or doesn't clearly tell your story,
Yeah.
well, then people can't clearly see the value that you and your team are bringing to the table. And and of course, there's so many reasons it can make for a messy customer experience. It can really overwhelm a team. If you're bringing in team members, it can be overwhelming. But to me, like, the nuts and bolts of it is, like, number one, it makes your job easier, exactly like what you said. It makes it easier to do. And number two, like, you need to have clean data and a clean portal, otherwise nobody can tell what you're doing, and that's stupid.
Well, and I mean, the thing is, it's such a slippery slope. And I mean, it's funny because, when I talk with our team and the people who work a lot in our portal, like, we fall into these same traps as well. Like, it starts really simple. It starts with just saying, I've got to upload these images really quickly for this email or whatever. I don't have much time, so I'm just going to put them in there. And And I'm not going to name them because, when I downloaded them, it was image 312 or whatever it might be. And so you just put them in there. And at first it's fine. But then I can't tell you how many times, someone will then realize that they have taken that image and copied it and slightly resized it 20 times. Yep. And so then what happens is we need this off the site. Let's say, for example, it's a different, it's a team member that maybe it's not there anymore. Maybe it's you've changed logos or whatever it might be. And it starts with simple things of like, Chris, we cannot find this to save like our lives. And then I have to work with them for sometimes an hour plus to try and find where this specific one is. And it can be really complicated. And so it starts with simple things. And then it leads into that's more of a easy analogy that represents into the messiness of everything else that happens from when you start having tons of emails. How do you, keep them named? When you start making lists to be able to organize contacts, but you don't really do a great job of saying what they are because in your mind you go, oh, I'll remember this, not a problem. And so instead it's just Monday's list, for something. And then you end up struggling to remember what it is. So I think that's a helpful way of thinking about it, just the slippery slope of, because as a marketing, whether it's marketing, sales, whatever it might be, you have so much going on and that you have to think about. What you don't want to have to think about is the simple things, and the more you can set yourself up for success there, then you're able to actually focus on things. Like, for example, figuring out, oh, did this campaign we do work? Because my boss is demanding that I tell them and the exact numbers of things, but it becomes very difficult because I didn't actually tag things correctly in the first place.
Yeah, those are super good points. I know that you've already kind of a little bit talked through some of the things, but could you give some specific examples or ways that you've helped clients? I even know for our own portal, you waved a magic wand and made it so much better. And I know that was totally cutting short everything that you did because it was amazing. No. But it revolutionized our HubSpot portal. Even as an agency, it was super helpful. So what are some of the specific things that literally you'll go in and check and make sure that somebody has set up correctly?
Yeah. Well, first thing I always encourage people to do is, start by having an organized folder system and naming system. Here's the reason why. And I'm a really optimistic person in most cases, but I'm also a realist. And the fact is, we are messy humans and we should not trust ourselves. And so instead, set up something that will prevent us or will hold us accountable and prevent us from messing it up. So, the first thing I would do, when we worked in our portal was saying, we have different departments. We have sales, we have marketing, we have, client service related things. We need to start big and break them down and separate them from there. Because when you're trying to find something in sales and you can't, because recently we uploaded 20 images to our blog, it quickly becomes difficult when you're trying to find something for a sale. So the first thing that I'd say, start with basic folders whenever you can. But, not always are you going to be able to do a folder within a folder within a folder. And so being able to just name things exactly what they are, starting of, in our case, it might be sales and then some type of divider of some sort. And then if it's a specific service or maybe it's a specific quarter or whatever it might be, just the more specific you can be, it's going to save you time. So that's organization in that sense. You set this foundation up once, and there'll be times where you'll still be messy, you have to clean it up. But if you set up this foundation this one time and it takes a little bit to do, then you don't ever have to worry about it again. And then new people, as they're coming in, they can learn the system pretty easily, and it's second nature to them. So that's the first thing that I say, worry about, because that's going to help you with your files and all that type of stuff. The other part though is contacts and how you keep up with all the contacts, because when you just go in HubSpot or really any customer relationship or database tool and you hit contacts, there's nothing more overwhelming than when you just see that all of a sudden all of them. And especially when you start having thousands upon thousands, you start being I don't remember half these people off the top of my head. So this is why using contact list in particular can be vital. And you can use these lists for all types of stuff, whether you want to separate it by interest, whether you want to separate it by geographic location, about, just the services that they've purchased in the past, so that if it's a customer that you've already had, you're not as unintentionally sending them marketing stuff about
Mhm.
something they've already bought, because that would be annoying, rightfully so. So, using all different type of contact list can be vital, because it can make everything from the user experience for the team better, because they can know who they're actually like reaching out to about the right stuff. But then you're also just able to personalize the experience, which is the whole point of what sales and marketing continues to push, is if it's not personal, people aren't going to be interested.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what you're talking about, people think, oh, well, once I get to a certain size, once I have this many contacts set up, and like, yeah, you do need a little bit of data in the portal in order to build it out. But I think that they're also like, it's better to start sooner rather than later, because otherwise you're going to dig yourself a hole where you're going to have a lot of data and it's going to be super hard to organize. And one of the things you're mentioning too is like when you're welcoming other people into your portal to do things for you,
Yes.
they need to know what to do.
Yeah.
And if it's super confusing, there's going to be mistakes made. Think communication will go out that you don't want to happen. And that's why it's just important to have a nice, healthy HubSpot portal.
And I think just one more thing to mention that you just brought up that's triggered this in my mind is the importance of consistency. Like, that doesn't mean there aren't going to be, look, there are times where when I'm in a rush, even I will be like, I'm not going to name this as specific as I need to, instead, like, and I just kind of put it in there instead of a folder. And every time I do it, I feel like I have a rubber band. I just want to snap myself and like, no, don't do that. But the reason why is if you're not consistent, then all of the new people or the other people on the team, they're going to also be like, well, they're not doing it, then why should I? And quickly it becomes mayhem. And it is amazing how you can have a very small site or, not that many contacts and still be overwhelmed when, I've been in portals where it's small and they've got like 1,000+ files. And it's like, well, now you have to look through, it's going to take hours to try and figure out what all this stuff is. And if you're even using it or you're not. And if you're not, then at minimum, put it in a folder to get it away. But at most, like, go ahead and remove it, because it's just making it messy for the sake of being messy.
Right. I love that. Well, this makes me want to go organize some files. So
look, I like to do it at work. Don't look at my personal filing system because I don't practice what I preach there. But at least for this, I can't stress enough how much easier it makes your day to day. So you don't have to focus on things where none of us really like, the boring kind of needed but kind of mundane acts that make a job, a job sometimes.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. It was good to talk to you today.
Appreciate it.